You mentioned seduction there, the art of seduction. Why did you write a book about the topic of seduction?
Seduction is a high form of power because you make people feel pleasure. You make them feel excited or interested in you, and then their resistance to your ideas slowly lowers, and you have the ability to influence them and to move them in the direction that you want. If you yell at them, like how we were talking about your child, and you tell them, do this, do that, they resent it, and for good reason. But if you're subtler, if you're more seductive in your approach, if you're more indirect, people will do what you want or go in your direction without ever even realizing it. So it was a sub-theme in the 48 Laws of Power. And so I was sort of interested in the psychology of that and why some people are good at it and some people are awkward about it. So when I finished the 48 Laws of Power, I thought this would be a natural segue, the next book.
What are the qualities of a great seducer? The art of seduction.
We'll see what we got on seduction.
It's a book.
Well, I like to distinguish between cold seducers and warm seducers. A cold seducer is something you don't want to be. That's the typical image that we might have of a male seducer, but even of a female seducer, like the great courtesans, etc., where they're just after money or the men are just after sex. That's not my ideal. My ideal is kind of a back and forth quality where it's not domination. It's sort of like a game that you're playing. It's like a mating game. It's like a courtship ritual where both people are kind of seducing each other. And so what makes for a great seducer is very simple. I can summarize it very simply. You are outer directed. So when you meet somebody for the first time or you're on a date or whatever it is, you're not having that internal monologue going, does she like me or does he like me? Am I dressed well? Am I saying stupid things? What can I do to impress them? No. You turn it off and you're outer directed and you're listening to them and you're entering their spirit and you're hearing them say things that give you idea of what they're missing in life, of what they want, of what their needs are, of what makes them an individual. You're absorbing it, you're entering into their spirit, and then you can reflect it back to them. You can give them gifts. You can take them to places that show that you're attentive to them. Because if you look at how we are in our day-to-day life, normally people never pay us attention. They're always so self-absorbed. They're never thinking about us. The times where you get the sense that people are actually interested in who you are as an individual is pretty rare. If you give that feeling to someone, it's incredibly powerful because we all want to be validated. We all want to be recognized. So the seducer is not someone who's all worried about him or herself and thinking. They're involved in the other person. They're absorbed like a sponge inside their psychology, inside their world.
A lot of this is, very applicable to romance and dating, etc., etc. It feels, for whatever reason, not necessarily something I've read much about in your work, but it feels like dating and romance and relationships have become much more complicated in the modern world. That it's become much more difficult to seduce somebody. What are the attributes of someone then that is not good at seducing?
Anti-seducer has many qualities. I have a whole chapter on the anti-seducer. I try and define it. There's several of them. I don't have them all memorized, but one quality that's very anti-seductive is preaching and moralizing. Is like telling people, oh, that's wrong what you just said, or your politics are ugly, or you're not really good at this, or something or other. Having a moral superiority, a sense of sanctimony in a realm which should be about pleasure, where should be that kind.
Bro, he knows what he's talking about. There's nothing to disagree on that one. Because, to be honest, I mean, that's... How would I put this? I said in video, I said on the video with Alex Ormond is that people really don't give a shit about what you do because they really don't pay attention about what you do on a daily basis. Everybody is focused on themselves, or what is wrong with them, what's going on in their life, etc. So they don't have time to pay you attention, which is something that if you are aware of, you can use to your advantage. It's like, well, nobody cares, right? So nobody cares. Nobody's following what I'm doing. So I'm gonna keep doing things that I can do to keep growing. I may put a video out. It's not good, but at least I try. And then, okay, no good response. I can try something different and I can move on. I can get better, which you can use to your advantage as well. Now, when we are talking about seduction, it's like that feeling where nobody's paying attention. If you meet someone who really pays attention and give you that attention, they are listening to you, they understand what you want, and they remember what you talk about or what you care about, it makes you feel special. It makes you feel a different kind of way. So if you are giving that feeling to someone else, I mean, that's seduction, to be honest, right? It's like if you get out of your own narcissistic self, right, and then you focus on someone else's need, right? If you, as a man, if you go out on a date with a girl, instead of focusing, oh man, my clothes, does she like my clothes, does she like how I smell, does she like me, etc., try to forget about all of those kind of stuff, but focus on that person. Okay, we're here, we're talking. What is she saying? What about her is special? What do I want to know, etc.? The focus is now about her. What's going on with her? You want to listen to what she's saying and understanding, getting to know her more than, okay, focusing on your own self-absorption, because we all want to be heard. We all want that attention. We all want someone who cares, someone who listens, someone who listen and focus on what we're doing and remember what we're saying. So I mean, it's some point, it's not like, oh, he's giving you any some Casanova tip for seduction, but I think that's the first step when it comes to seducing someone. Yeah, it's not so much about the pickup line and all of those kind of stuff. It's more about how you make that person feel, because that's what's going to last on the longest. Because if you are trying to get to know that person and be in something that is long term, it's how that person feels around you that he or she wants to stay. So yeah.
Kind of equality, that kind of back and forth dynamic where you're asserting your moral superiority is deeply, deeply anti-seductive. The element of preaching to people. Not being generous, and I mean not just with money. Money is important, but not being generous with your spirit, right? You want to be open. You want to give as much as you can to the other person of yourself, of your time, of your money, of your energy, etc. So being all kind of crimped and I don't want to give, I don't want to spend money, I want to take you to the cheap place to eat, I don't want to give you much time, is very, very anti-seductive.